All right, guys, let's continue with the next part. It's been long, I know, that we have resumed this class, all right? But yeah, let's continue with the next and few more concepts about AWS. Till date, whatever we have discussed, I try to explain the things from very zero, and almost all the concepts whatever we are discussing right now until now we are doing as a practical hands-on, right? And lots of concepts I have explained to you and given to you that is might not be I can say the part of the AWS training. Plus, there's a lot of extra concept I explain you that normally we don't discuss in the AWS training. It is the internals, right? How the things work behind the scene, right? So, because my idea is pretty simple, right? It is not only important to have to be the cloud engineer. If you really want to be a technical, guys, can you hold for a second, please? So, if you really want to be technical in respective domain, right? Maybe a cloud or big data or machine learning, you should know how the things work behind the scene. For example, in my last class, I was discussing about the stories. So I try to explain you in the AWS cloud behind the scene they are using some kind of fiber channels or they are using iSCSI to do the connectivity. Okay. So even though you know iSCSI, you don't know if you know the name. If you don't know the name of iSCSI, it's still you can use the AWS services. But if you plan to go more deep dive and you plan to have your own cloud computing, right? You want to create your own product. There, these knowledge gonna help you. For example, I want to create my own storage as a service. But I don't want to use OpenStack and I don't want to use AWS or Azure cloud. Okay, and if you don't know what is the underlying uh, technology or the concept they are using, right, it is impossible maybe at that point in time to create your own. But right now you know at least the name. Maybe you don't know what is iSCSI, but at least you know the name. And if you have a requirement in the future to have your own storage as a service, you can go to Google, just learn about the iSCSI, come back and try to create your own. Okay, so so technically what I'm trying to tell you here is finally, okay, I'll try to touch as much as in-depth knowledge about the concepts in the cloud. Okay, that will have one benefit. You will learn a lot of extra things that will never a part of AWS cloud training. Second, limitation of this approach to go extra in depth is this program will take some extra time to complete. Even though I know it has been delayed from my side because of the disease, COVID. Okay, but maybe if you go in the normal flow, uh, normally this training, I want it go more deep dive. Maybe it takes some extra days to complete, but our final motto is not to complete the training. I think our final motto is to train ourselves in all the aspects, whatever possibility we have, we can cover in this program. Okay, that would be, guys, I think the final motto. Why we are, that's the reason you are paying over here, and you are giving your very crucial time in this training. Okay, so let's continue with the topic where we have left. And if you guys remember, we was discussing about the stories, and I think the last topic was we have discussed, that is about a snapshot. Okay, and now we know the snapshot. Very interesting topic. Every bit I explained you, almost every core bit of the snapshot and how it work, I explained to you. But this concept is very important in the AWS world, because with the help of a snapshot, right, lots of limitations that we have in the storage in the AWS, you can solve it. Okay, what I mean by this, let me start with one great use case where we will again use this snapshot. Okay, but before this, let me just give 2 minutes. All right, let me give 2 minutes, very quickly revise about the storage, whatever we have discussed, so it will give a proper flow where we are going. Okay, so technically, what is storage, you guys know. If you have any data and you want data to be stored, you need a file. If you want file to be created, you need a folder. If you want folder to be created, you need some kind of device. And if your requirement is to store all these things permanent, then the device that you need is the storage device. But it's all depend upon which kind of data, or I can say which kind of file you would like to store. Okay, and if your file is the you need to store is the object storage, is kind of object, I can say that, then we need the object storage as a service. And in the AWS, the name of object storage is called S3. Okay, and I have shown you very interesting practical already, where we put some of the objects like images and video on the S3, and we will share those objects with the cloud front and all the things we'll discuss this. So very interesting practical we have created. I keep on enhancing those practical in my upcoming classes. Okay, but this practical we have discussed already. But if you need to create a partition and format it and mount it and put your data, whatever you want to put there, then we have to go for block storage. And the name of the service of the block storage is called EBS. So if your requirement is you want to create a partition and format it, and accordingly you want to use, then EBS is the storage. But there's one challenge in the EBS is, if you create one hard disk or one block device from the EBS, and that block device called volume. Okay, so at one point in time, okay, we can attach one volume to one single EC2 instances, or one single VMs or the instances. Okay, so let's say one volume I create is called volume one. So first, this volume I can only attach to one single instance. If you try to attach the same volume to the second instance at the same point in time, it some of the type it support, but technically it won't support. It's something like this: you have two laptop, and if you single pen drive or single volume, and if you want to connect one pen drive to both the laptop at same point in time, obviously technically it's not possible. Only one single particular pen drive you can connect either to first laptop or to second laptop. It's something like this. But sometimes we have a need, sometimes we need a file system, right? And what exactly the file system meaning is, if you guys go through my partisan classes, then I talk about what exactly the meaning of the file system contain inode table. So in this training I am not going to discuss, it is altogether the different concepts, but I think I've shared my parts and classes. And if you really want to know a little bit more about the storage, I highly recommend to go to this 1 or 2 classes. It will help you a lot to do more deep dive inside the cloud world. Okay, but yeah, if you want that, you need only one single volume, and this one single volume or one single device in one single point in time connect to hundreds and thousands of OS. And there are a lot of use cases for this. I will discuss those use cases in the future classes. But if you need this, then we have one more kind of storage available on the cloud world, that is called file storage. Okay, and guys, there's a difference, right? In object storage, we are not connecting the storage to the instance. Okay, guys, if you try to think, in S3, we never connect S3 to the EC2 instance. Yeah, EC2 instance can go to S3 and download the images. There's a different point. It is something like this: we put the data on the S3 and we open my Windows browser and write the URL of S3 and they download from there. That's a different point. Okay, so S3 is just like you can think S3 is just like somebody hosted one website for you, and in the website we put some images and videos. And there's a website we can access from my mobile phone, laptops, wherever you have the browser, okay, or HTTP or HTTPS support, you can download there. So S3 is a very different thing. But if you ever need that, you want a pen drive or a volume, right, and that connect with the multiple multiple instance at single point in time. Why we need a lot of use case for this, we will discuss. But for this we need one more type of storage called file storage. So this part, guys, I haven't discussed yet, but technically in the cloud world or in the storage world, there's a three different kind of storage. One is object storage, one is block storage, and block storage also known as SAN storage. Okay, one is file storage. It is also known as NAS storage, network attached storage. Okay, so this is one of the storage that I think I will take this topic tomorrow. Okay, but why I'm discussing right now, because for learning this topic you should know, if you really want to know more about how it work behind the scene. So for this, you should know any of the file storage normally work on a protocol called NFS. like um, like in S3 they work on a protocol called HTTP or HTTPS. Like block storage, they normally work on a protocol called iSCSI. Okay, similarly file storage normally work on a protocol called NFS. Okay, so NFS, guys, is a very small basic topic of the Linux. Okay, if you know NFS, tomorrow topic, guys, you can learn in more in detail. But anybody by chance who don't know NFS, don't worry. Very small lecture I have, video. I'll share those video to you for extra knowledge, or can say as a bonus knowledge up to you. So I suggest before the tomorrow classes, go through and complete this topic. By chance, if you don't, those guys who don't know what is NFS, very small topic, Linux topic. It's not at all the cloud topic. But if you know the NFS, learning this topic would be more it would be very easier for you guys. Okay, so there's one service from AWS called EFS, Elastic File System, right? Service that we might discuss tomorrow. But this service behind the scene work on a, even though you know NFS, you don't know NFS, it work. We can directly use the EFS to do the things what we want. But if you know the NFS, you will have more clarity how the things work behind the scene. So I'll share, guys, after the today's class, I'll share this video to you. Just go through it. It will give you the externals to you. Okay, but today's my topic is again continue with the EBS. So EBS is the one service who give you block storage as a service. So it is always, guys, think like it is like a extra pen drive or extra hard disk they give to you that you can attach to your instances. Okay, but I told you, guys, there's three different kind of block storage or block devices we have discussed. One is the root volume, where your actual operating system installed. Okay, second is uh, actually known as EBS volume. Okay, that you actually get extra and attach to the system, right? And you guys know it come from ice because you come from network. This is called SAN storage. And one more storage that I have discussed already, but I haven't talked more about, haven't discussed it in more detail. We will discuss, guys, when I go for some advanced discussion on performance. So that's called ephemeral storage. But all the three storage I show you and how to use this storage we have discussed in the last classes, right? But today, again, my discussion would be on these two topics. One is root volume and one is EBS. Okay, so let me start with the EBS. Okay, so what we are going to discuss in the EBS, right? One of the limitation that we have in the EBS that I would like to discuss, and the limitation that we have in the EBS volume is something like this that you guys know already. Okay, for example, if you launch your instance on one A data center, let's say in Mumbai, you launch one instance. Okay, and your EBS volume or your extra pen drive is located on 1B. Let's say 1 GB EBS volume is located on the 1B. Okay, and if you have a requirement to connect or attach this particular volume to this instance. Okay, so by the design, AWS doesn't support this. And why they doesn't support, I think in my last class I explained you, because EBS it give you external hard disk, and if your hard disk is there in the 1B in different data center and OS is running in the different center, then a lot of latency and delay come up. Okay, to improve the performance and give the good quality speed to the customer of the AWS, they thought, let's don't allow to give this option, otherwise client won't be happy. Okay, better by design, don't allow this. Okay, so technically if your EBS volume has some data, my 1 GB, 100 GB in 1B data center in Mumbai region, right? And if you want to launch, connect to the EC2 in in again in Mumbai in 1A, it won't allow. But if you have sometimes, if you have a requirement that I have by chance my storage in 1B, and suddenly I have a requirement to connect in 1A, how we can do this? So this is, guys, one of the practical I'm going to show you. If you have a requirement come up, and this very sometimes very common requirement to come up, and this is a one of the question being asked in the AWS CSA exam. So anybody who will in the future planning for AWS CSA global examination, so this is the one of very common question they ask you in the examination, and they give you, this is the scenario we have, and I'm giving you A, B, C, D, four choices, which one is the correct. Okay, so the practical that I'm going to show you will give you this answer that normally ask in the examination. Okay, so let me show you how we can deal this with this problem. Like this, there's multiple topics we are going to discuss that is more related to more related to storage today. So what I'm going to do very quickly, I'll go and launch. I'm in the Mumbai region over here, and I'm going to launch one new instance. Okay, and I'll go for AWS Linux instance. Okay, just go for one, and I'm launching this instance on 1A data center, but technically it's called subnet. And most of you guys, maybe tomorrow and next week, I just want to dedicate the whole 2 or 3 classes on networking. We are going to discuss a lot in depth about the networking, almost everything about the networking. We're going to discuss from netting to lots of extra things we will discuss there. So anybody who are not comfortable with this subnet concept, don't worry, we'll discuss that. So this is install. This OS is going to install in the root volume called 8 GB. And understand one more thing. One more thing. It means this OS is going to install in this root device having 8 GB in size. It means. It means. Okay. Right now I'm going to install one Linux operating system. Entire OS installing here. And guys, you know, in the Linux, the main drive is the slash drive. Okay, and almost all the content of the Linux, not almost 100% content of the Linux is stored on the slash drive. It means if you install any new software, maybe because this is Linux, and Linux we use a normal yum command to install the software. So if you install any new software, software is what? Again, is a package. What is package? Package contain a lot of files and data. So all the file and data finally stored in the slash storage. Or slash storage is the part of root device. it means it means in the future, after you install the OS and any software you want to install, okay, software finally go and build, or I can say install, or I can say landed to the slash drive. So I am discussing this because this is one of my again one more practical for today. Okay, why is so important here? Because it means due to some reason, if your root device fail, slash device fail, if slash drive fail, all the software that you installed, okay, it will be terminated. Means you'd again install the OS, okay, and again install all the software, all the programs with whatever the command you want to use, yum or maybe xyz command. Okay, but how to tackle this problem, right? Due to some reason, if the root volume fail, I don't want to again and again install my OS. I don't want to again and again install my all the softwares. Okay, I just directly want to use it. Okay, so what is this how to tackle this problem? Again, this is the one of the topic we're gonna discuss today, but let's pick this particular topic. Okay, how to connect ABS from 1A to 1B. right? So this is my OS, let's say EBS security group. I'm allowing only 22 port and launch and attaching some key here. That's all. So this is the OS. And so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to attach one hard disk in this OS, and this OS running on 1A. And for this, I'll go to EBS, and EBS I'm going to create one new volume of 1 GB in size. And again, guys, right now, just for a small demonstration, what I am doing here, I'm putting the same hard disk in 1A. So OS and hard disk in the same data center. So I can attach, because I can attach, I can go and put some data there. Okay. So this is the EBS for OS one something. That's all. And this EBS belongs to 1A, so I can attach this EBS to uh, any of the OS, okay, that is the part of 1A. So this OS is running. So this practical, you know, we discussed multiple times, even though I believe you have tried this practical with the AWS CLI. So one small practical I just want to give you. Okay, so this practical guys, you guys know how to do manually, the way I'm doing, how to do with the command line. It's called AWS command line. I think you guys have done this. Okay, but anybody who know by chance Ansible. Okay, so my currently my Ansible batch is going on. Most of the guys over here is a part of my Ansible training. I want you just try to do the same practical with the Ansible. I want you use Ansible to go and launch the OS. I want you go use the Ansible to launch this instance and use the Ansible to attach this instance, this hard disk to the instances. So this is extra homework I just want to give you. Anybody who by chance know Ansible, right? They can try this practical. Or if you don't know Ansible, if you know Puppet or Ceph, if you want, just try it. But I want at least those who are there with me in my Ansible, at least they have to try this practical. Okay. So uh, let me go to instances again, okay, and connect this instance. Okay, and while you see one new hard disk come up. Okay, so let me log in with the sudo command, and every disk happen L. One new hard disk come up of 1 GB in size. And what I'm doing very quickly, I'll go inside this hard disk to create one new person. We're doing really faster because I think this is very simpler now for you, okay, to create a person. Now new person come up, and let me format this person. mkfs.ext4 I'm using here to format this person. Okay, and let me create one folder just for test folder, and let me mount this drive. So nothing special, right? You guys know those things. Why I'm doing this, because I just want to show you how to transfer data from 1A to 1B. Okay, and in this folder, let me put some data, linuxworld.txt and lw.txt. I'm putting Linux world. That's all. So this is the data we have in this folder, and this folder is mounted with this partition, and this partition is coming from a hard disk called this one, and this hard disk is coming from 1A data center of the AWS. Okay, so this command, you guys know we had discussed these commands already in detail, but let me share the screenshot of it. Okay, so how we can do. Okay, so so intention is to transfer the data in the new instance. So what I'm doing here very quickly, I am going to launch one more new instance in 1B, and requirement is I have to connect my hard disk from 1A to 1B. So I'm doing the same thing. This time, this instance I'm going to launch in 1B, add storage, everything same. OS number 2 in 1B, security group, connect, launch, give the private key so that they can log in if you want. Oh my God. Uh, uh, Actually, by chance, guys, in this In this particular account, use a new account today, I have a limit, only one instance I can launch. Okay, so let me do one more extra practical, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do, it will by chance give you one more new practical. By chance, okay, by chance, my current setup is running in the Mumbai. Okay, and this hard disk is belong to one of the data center, I think in 1A in the Mumbai, or 1B, whatever I used. Okay. So my requirement is I would like to launch the OS not in Mumbai, let's say in North Virginia. So North Virginia is one of the region in US. I want like to launch my new OS there. Okay. And in this OS, I would like to connect this hard disk. Understand one thing, guys. It is a not a. I'm not transferring my hard disk from one data center to other than data center. I'm transferring my hard disk from one region to very different new region. Obviously, in this region will have their own AZ. There's a different point. Okay, it is called cross region. Okay, so how can you transfer your hard disk from one data center of one particular region to other data center of very different region? Okay, so let's go for this practical, right? So for this, what I'm going to do, I'm switching ourselves to the Virginia. Okay, and here I'm going to launch new instance the way you guys know. And guys, this demonstration I can explain you theoretically also. It will be complete faster, but I believe doing practically makes more logical sense, right? Maybe it takes some time, but it will be always very logical, right? So one day I'm launching in Virginia, and this is the OS number 2 in Virginia, North Virginia, something like this. Okay, and attaching one key here. Okay, so let's do this practical, right? What our intention is, you guys know, this hard disk that contains some data. Okay, I would like to send this hard disk to the North Virginia. But before I do this practical, let me show you one concept. So what is this? This is the hard disk. Hard disk also known as volume. And the current size of this volume is 1 GB. And recently, guys, Amazon has provided us a facility. Okay, if you have attached one hard disk of 1 GB volume, okay, on the fly, you can increase the size. Okay, and if the same device, if you increase the size, right, and that is technically known as vertical scaling. So vertical scaling is some of the facility recently they has provided on the volume. Okay, so without losing the data, same hard, you can think like one single pen drive you have on 1 GB without having the extra pen drive. Okay, that single pen drive you can increase. And by chance, anybody who knows something more advanced about the person, that's called LVM. So in the LVM, if you have one single pen drive of 1 GB, you can add one more extra pen drive from the market of 2 GB and attach together, become 3 GB. There's a different point. Here, you require extra pen drive, extra independent hard disk or the pen drives or devices to increasing the size of your main storage or one single drive. That's we can achieve from LVM, right? If you guys by chance know LVM, you know this concept. Okay, but here I'm talking about different concept, right? One single device, okay, without adding some extra different device, we can increase the size, or maybe we can decrease the size. That's called vertical scaling. And and normally in the cloud we don't use this word a lot, normally a vertical scaling, right? Instead of vertical scaling we use a word called elastic. Both have the same meaning. So I can say my storage, my volume is elastic. We can increase, we can decrease on the fly without losing the data. That's called elastic volume. And that might be reason why EVS is stand for stand for elastic. Okay, so how we can do, so let me show you this practical first, then we'll go to show you how to test the data hard disk from here and there. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, Okay, so I have this hard disk. One minute. So I'm in the Mumbai. Let me go to first Mumbai because my hard disk right now is located in the Mumbai, and Mumbai we have this instance running. Let me connect again. And guys, uh, instance who has the Amazon AMI is the only one who will give you a facility to connect from the web browser. But if you launch a Red Hat or Fedora or CentOS, you're going to hear they don't give you facility to connect from the web console. So this is again one more task from my side. Okay, so if you want your Red Hat Linux or Ubuntu Linux will also have a facility to connect on to connect from the web browser the way I am using here. Okay, how we can do this? So Amazon doesn't provide you, but if you want, these OS will have a web UI login, website based login. How we can do this? If you talk about AWS doesn't provide you by default. But if you want this, how we can do this? I want guys, this is one more small homework or task from my side. Just try it by yourself. Otherwise, I will show you in my upcoming classes. Okay. But by chance, this OS has this hard disk, and if you see here, the size of this hard disk is 1 GB. Okay, and this is mounted over here with some data of size around, if you see, 1 GB. Okay, now if you want to increase the size, it's pretty straightforward actually. Okay, so this is the where it is. This is the volume we have. Okay, this is the volume we have. Okay, and here if you select the volume is 1 GB in size. If you select here, there's option called modify volume. Okay, and if you click on the modify volume, now very clearly they give you option. We can increase the volume from 1 GB to 16 TBI or terabyte. Okay, so let me increase to 2. That's all. So it's straightforward, very simple, nothing very much fancy here. Even though you can change the volume type also. So we haven't discussed yet about the volume type, but you can think this different volume type is about the performance. So somebody give you more performance, somebody give you less performance, and something like this. Okay, so we can dynamically change the type of volume type also. That's also one of the things they provide us. Okay, and they say, do you want to increase? Yes or no? I say yes. Okay, and they send the request. It takes maybe sometimes some second or minute they consume to do the things. And if you refresh here, now it become 2 GB. Okay, but here they show you 2 GB, but let's see, are they showing you 2 GB here or not? Okay, if you see guys here, 2 GB updated. Okay, and that's one thing is very powerful concept. I don't know, have you ever work on some kind of Linux server or not, right? Behind the scene, you increase your one similar device, your device name doesn't change, same device, you increase the size. There's one interesting thing. And second thing, without rebooting the OS, your size increase. Okay, but technically it doesn't support in all the operating system. Okay, by chance this is the Amazon Linux updated version 2, they support elastic volume support. Okay, but if you use any other OS or a little bit older OS, okay, from the AWS perspective, they update the size. Okay, they update the size. But if you go to the Linux OS and run this command, they're still showing the older one. And to update, either you have to reboot or there's some command of the Linux they provide you. Okay, and that is a reason, right? While doing the modify volume, modify volume, here they ask you, it takes some time or some of the OS doesn't support. You have to use some kind of commands of Linux and Windows, depend which OS you're using, right? To take in effect. Okay, by chance, I am using Red Hat, so Amazon Linux version 2, latest version. So they support this elastic volume support concept. Otherwise, depend upon the OS type, you just go, there's a link here, just go use this link and run those commands to do the things. Okay, so I'm saying this because not always we always use Amazon Linux, right? So there's some kind of Linux commands. Okay, to increase the EBS size, you have to use some kind of command. So if you guys know anything about uh, uh, grow fs command or recess to fs command in Linux, you use this command to enhance. Okay, so I'm giving this information because maybe in your case you are using different Linux versions. So in your case it might not work, and then you have to use this particular command. Okay, depend upon which version or which format type you're using. So I'm sharing this link to you. Okay. So now this size is increased, and if you're on DFMS, all right, and if you notice here, okay, according to AWS, okay, size increase. According to a base OS, my size 2 GB increase. Okay, but if you notice one thing, okay, this size is still 1 GB, and it is but always, guys, because your hard disk is 2 GB, partition we already created of 1 GB. So obviously partition will be always the 1 GB in size. But if you have a requirement that you want to increase the partition size also, okay, your hard disk size increase, but you want to increase your partition size also for 1 GB, 2 GB. So how we can do, again, guys, it's not a pure topic of AWS. If you know some of the Linux commands, just use those command and do the thing. For example, research to fs command and fdisk command or mkpart command. So multiple commands we have to do the things. I just wanted to put you in your notice that this is also one thing you might have to do. But yeah, we need my hard disk size to be increased. That's what they increase. Now in the hard disk, you want to increase the partition size, you want to create one more partition, that would be your choice. That's the different point altogether. Okay. So or you can use one more command called lsblk to have more clarity. So this is the hard disk of 2 GB, and this hard disk we already created a partition that is mounted here having the 1 GB in size. So this command also you can use. So I don't want to focus more now in the partition concepts, right? So today's one of the very small topic, as I discuss here, how to increase the size of the your hard disk, right? Not the partition of the hard disk that we increased. Okay. Now next point here is, right now I'm into Mumbai, and this hard disk is there in the 1A in the Mumbai. And if you want to transfer this hard disk or hard disk data, I can say, to the Virginia region, how we can do. Okay. So for this, if you try to go and select the hard disk and click on the action, right? And if you try to see here, there's no option available actually. So from the EBS volume perspective, there's no option available to transfer your hard disk from 1A to 1B or 1 Mumbai to Virginia. None of the options they have available over here. Okay. So how we can transfer? Okay. So for this, we have to use certain approach. The approach is something like this. Okay. So if you have a hard disk of 1 GB or 2 GB, for example, in 1A, by chance in my case is in Mumbai, and if you want to transfer this entire hard disk, obviously, when I say hard disk, means the data of the hard disk with the entire partition and the file system, means I can say the complete raw hard disk, right? Or the hard disk with the file system, I can say, okay, to other location. Then the approach that we have to use is that Amazon has said, right? You have to first create a copy of this hard disk. It's called backup, or I can say point in time backup. I'm into say snapshot here. Okay. So Amazon say whenever you create the snapshot, behind the scene, I store your snapshot in the S3 storage. It's not visible to us, but Amazon internally store our snapshot in the S3. And the good thing about the S3 is, right, S3 is a global service. And because it's global, so it is accessible by all the data center and all the regions across the world. Or because it is accessible by all the regions in the world. So now what can I do? I'll go to Virginia, not Virginia, a different region or different data center, and I ask them to get a copy from you. Or because we are getting the copy from S3, but this copy is come from a snapshot, and the snapshot is coming from EBS. So finally, what we will achieve, we achieve and get the EBS volume here. Which EBS volume? From this one. And where this data come from? From this guy. From this guy. Okay. So this is the approach Amazon has to use. And in the Amazon cloud, we have to use. There's no other way to do the things. Either you can do manually copy, there's a different point, SCP command, there's a different point here, but I'm not asking you to copy the data. Here we are copying the entire hard disk. Whereas hard disk content parts and format type, file system, inode table, data, files, everything. So technically we are creating a complete clone of the hard disk. So if you want to clone the hard disk from one A to one B or one region to other region, this called cross region, okay, then we have to use this method. So first we have to create a snapshot of this. So how to create a snapshot, you guys know. So attach the select the your EBS volume, create a snapshot that we discussed already. I'm showing guys every steps of this, and this is the EBS one snapshot from Mumbai 1A, whatever you have. Okay, and create. So snapshot created. Close. Okay, and now snapshot has a facility. Okay, snapshot has a facility from the snapshot. It's like a backup, or it's like a clone of the entire hard disk. From the snapshot, we can create one more new hard disk, two more new hard disks. Okay, that's one of the benefit of the snapshot, right? Okay, and second benefit is in the snapshot we can create a snapshot, so we can create a again the new hard disk, okay, of any point in time. So we can have a snapshot of per day basis. And if you want to have a want to create new hard disk with a data of 2 day older or 10 day older, so that part guys we already discussed in my snapshot class. So one complete class we have discussed already in the snapshot. But the good thing about the snapshot is, from the snapshot, if you try to create a new hard disk again or new volume again, that's called EBS volume. At that time they ask you where you want this EBS volume to be created. Okay, you want this EBS volume to be created in 1B or other region. So there's a power we can achieve from here. So snapshot has been completed. Okay, and now this is backup. Now from this backup I can create again one more new hard disk. Okay, so here create a volume. Okay, and when we create a volume from the snapshot, okay, here they ask you first thing, here they also ask you to change the size. Okay, and guys, previously we don't have options to do elastic volume. Even though if you want to increase the size of the volume also, again we have to go for this method. We have to first create a snapshot, and from the snapshot we have to increase the size from 2 to 4, for example. So again, increasing the size of the volume, some month ago, we have to use this kind of method. But now we have a direct option in the EBS to increase the size. There's a different point. Okay, but we can also do from here. Okay, but interesting thing over here is that we can do is change the volume. Now we are creating this volume in this region. Let's say in 1C. 1C. Okay. So technically what happened, right? This volume I had in lesson 1A. For 1A, I created a snapshot. And this snapshot, I'm going to create one more new hard disk, okay, with the same data that I had already in 1A. All right. And I'm storing in 1B and 1C. That's all. And save it. Or let me give the name EBS new from snapshot to 1C. Okay, but understand one thing, guys. Right now, they are not asking me the region name because everything they are doing in the Mumbai only. So by this approach, I can copy from 1A to 1B, 1B to 1C, something like this. Okay, so technique is created. And now if you see one more new volume come up, okay, this is the exact copy of this guy. But now this volume is the part of 1C. Or because it's a part of 1C, so any of the instances EC2 running on 1C, we can attach this guy. Okay, so this is the way how we can transfer volume from 1A to 1B to 1A to 1C, something like this. So this is the between the, or I can say it is the inter region. Okay, but if you want to transfer your volume from one region to other region altogether. Right now I'm in the Mumbai, and from Mumbai you want to transfer to North Virginia. Okay, so if you want to do this, right, again, Snapshot is the one who's going to help you. So this is a snapshot we have. And in the snapshot, right, if you go to action, okay, and there's option called copy. Okay, so last time I used the option called create volume, means from the snapshot I'm creating the volume. Okay, creating the volume means like a new EBS volume. And that time they're asking where you want to copy 1A, 1B, 1C. So I say 1C. But here I am going for create a copy. And here, if you use a copy option over here, then they are going to create a new snapshot. Okay, where in the option, yeah, these are the options for what, for your region, right? Let's say North Virginia. Okay, so I'm just, if you want to change the description here, you can change the description different point, and I'm copying here. So it's not a small operation, right? It's a big operation actually behind the scene they're doing. So from the Mumbai, entire data over the traffic of the internet, or maybe Amazon are using their own private fiber optic channels that I explained you already. Okay, and entire data, okay, from the Mumbai of my 1 GB hard disk over here, they are transferring to the North Virginia. But they are not creating the hard disk there. They are only transferring to the snapshot. It means you can think, well, because snapshot is storing the S3. So technically you can think right now my data is there in my S3 in Mumbai, that actually a part of my snapshot. And when I do this copy operation, they're transferring this same data again to S3 that is belong to North Virginia. But this data again they are using for the snapshot. So technically, one new snapshot they will create in the North Virginia. And after a snapshot created, now from this snapshot we can copy as much as, okay, create as much as volume in any of the data center there. So let me close. Go to North Virginia. Okay. And if you see here, this is the first time I'm using, but you can see North Virginia one snapshot come up, with the same description from one Mumbai. AP South means Mumbai is coming from. It's completed. And now because in this North Virginia, I have an instance by chance running on 1A. Okay, this is running in Virginia, right? So what I can do, I can go to my snapshot and say, can you please create a hard disk for me, a volume for me? Okay, of in where? In 1A. That's all. And let's say this is my EBS volume 1 and create. That's all. So this volume created. And now because this volume is created in 1A of Virginia, so I can connect or attach this volume in one of the instances running in the US. That's all. So guys, is a long process, right? It's a cross region EBS volume are transferred. Okay. So it means whatever data I put in 1A in Mumbai, it is now entire hard disk has been reached to 1A in the Virginia region, in the North Virginia. And now if you open this particular instance, and try to connect. Okay. So this instance is the North Virginia region. What you will see, you'll see the entire hard disk with the same data, obviously. So every disk have an L, and you'll see this hard disk come up, right, of 2 GB. And how I know this is the exact hard disk, because this hard disk we have created one partition of 1 GB is there, right? And if you just very quickly want to check the data also, just mount it XVDF. And guys, this is a very common requirement we have, right? A very common requirement. We want to transfer data from here and there. And you'll see this is the exact data is transferred. And guys, this screen is the instance running in the US, right? But I can get the same data or mounted my same hard disk um, coming from the Mumbai. Okay. So very common scenario, very useful scenario. We use a lot this kind of scenario. We need a lot, I can say. Okay. And plus, in the AWS global examination, right? Anybody who's preparing for the examination, This question always come in the examination, how we can transfer the data from here and there. Okay, this is the way we use. So two example, guys, one region to region plus AG to AG. Both the example I explained to you, copy example and create volume example. Okay, so this is the one thing. Let me again go back to Mumbai. Okay, and now if you go to snapshots, right, user snapshot we guys know already, we discussed already, right? So we have options called create volume, we discuss, delete is but obvious, right? Delete, copy, we discuss, right? There's one more option we have is called image, very much important option over here. Okay, and guys, very important option, we're going to use this image a lot in the future classes. So what exactly the meaning of this option, right? So you guys know, if you want to launch, okay, if you want to launch any operating system, normally we use EC2 services. Okay, but in the EC2 service, if you want to launch the operating system, or I can say instance, you need a AMI image, and it's called OS image. Okay, so from this image you can launch this OS, right? Now point over here is how you get this image from. Obviously it is located here in the Amazon. So whenever you go for instances, and if you launch the instance, here they provide you all the images whatever you need, or you can search, or you can go for AWS marketplace. A lot of company has put their images, customized images, like for Splunk or micro deep security and trained and all the things, right? So you can just go and download, retrieve the image and launch your OS from these images. uh, but there's sometimes some kind of requirement come up, right? For example, okay, I know I have to use for example, I have to use a Red Hat Linux, a Red Hat version 8. Plus I know after I launch this OS, after 2D kind of requirement, I have to configure Apache web server, Apache web server. Then I have to install PHP. Then I have to put some code of the PHP and some more things we have to do. Okay, so technically what I'm trying to tell you here is, right, is if I want to launch the OS, my final need is to run or host PHP website or HTML website or Java website or something like this. This is a very common requirement. So technically, right, this is the complete box I need, or this is the complete OS I need, or I can say this is the actual environment I always need. Now it is your choice. It is your choice how you want to create this environment. Either every time you launch this OS and install the software, install the PHP, configure the code and all the things. Okay, everything, because maybe in a day you have to launch this OS 10 times because you have some kind of testing team. They have to keep on launching the OS, test something, then terminate, then keep on launching, then test something, and they terminate. Or maybe right now you're running with 10 web server, and suddenly your website load increase from the public website internet, right? And suddenly you have to launch 100 more websites for 10 hours of 2 hours. Then you terminate again, next day load increase, you again launch the new websites. Okay, so guys, this part we'll discuss in detail when I go for load balance and auto scaling. Very interesting concept, right? How it can be done automatic. Okay, but my final say here is, right, we have this image. From this image I can launch the OS, but after launching the OS we need to do lots of things, and this lot of thing is called configuration. We have to configure our website or web server. So either you configure every time manually, but again it will take a lot of time if you do anything manual, or there's a lot of way available in the market. Rather than you do manual, okay, you can use automation scripts. And one of the great example is Ansible, for example. You can use Ansible or Python or Perl or Shell scripting to configure this thing automatically. But technically, every time you have to do. So if you launch this OS, do manual or run an Ansible or code or something kind of scripts to configure things. But if you know, okay, if you know, and if you think every time whenever I launch this environment, I need the same steps. I need to configure same software, same PHP, same code. Every time my requirement is same, I would like to put the same data. Okay, I have to put configure same data. So what can you do? Okay, only for first time, launch the Redit 8 OS, configure all the things, put all the data over here in this OS. Okay, and do one thing. Okay, put and all this complete data. Okay, create a one copy of it. Create one copy of it. Okay, and this copy will work like a real image or like a real MI. So technically, what I'm talking about here is, I'm trying to tell you here is how to create your own AMI. So if you want to create your own AMI, or I can say a custom AMI, how we can do it, right? But why we need to create our own AMI? This is one of the example. Because config Apache web server, put PHP, put my code. This is my custom requirement. Maybe not other company will have. Obviously, Amazon never provide you those kind of AMI uh, to you. This is your requirement, right? They will give you only the basic core AMI or the operating system. On the top of this, whatever you want to do, that will be your choice. So technically, if you want to create your own AMI, how we can do it? Pretty straightforward. But you should know your requirement, what exactly you want to put inside your image or AMI. So anybody who by chance know Docker, and if we go to my Docker classes, same concept we discussed there in the Docker also. The Docker, if you want to create your own Docker image with Docker file or commit command, something like this we are doing there. So this is not Docker, this is the Amazon. So in the Docker, it's called Docker images. Here in the Amazon, it is called Amazon AMI. So same thing we are doing here. Okay. So technically, if you think you don't want to configure everything, same thing again and again manually, same thing again and again with the automation tool like Ansible. Okay. But if you think your this requirement is same always, okay, and this is the scenario if you have, so it's better to configure only for once, create your own image, and this image or AMI keep on using forever. Okay, and guys, this AMI we are going to use a lot in the future classes. Okay, so a lot of example we are going to do. So I don't want to every time launch the AMI EC2 instance and configure this thing for us, right? So I'm going to do only for once right now, where we'll keep on using this AMI in other future practicals. Okay, and second thing is, because if you launch the EC2 instance of the Red Hat, okay, everything they store in your slash drive, means you're in your root storage. Okay, and if you install this software, if you install this software, everything again stored in your root device or in the slash storage. So technically, what I'm trying to tell you here is, okay, whenever you create AMI, actually behind the scene, AMI create a copy of your slash storage or your root device. That's all I just want to tell you here. Okay, they will create a copy of your root storage. So it will like again like a snapshot they create for you. Okay, and that is the reason, guys. In the snapshot, if you go to if you go to a snapshot, they give you option. Do you want to create image? Okay, and here if you look like, it look like, they're asking your root device from where to pick and all the things, something like this. Okay, so we'll come to this skin again. But I'm showing you different way to create the image. So by this method, little bit look complex. I'll show you how to create the image or your own image in with the simplest way. Okay, but before this, okay, I am into Mumbai, and if you see in the Mumbai, there's option over here. Option here is called AMIs. If you click on the AMIs, okay, if you see there's no AMI available owned by me, because this is a new account, I haven't created any AMI yet. Okay, and anybody who also want to create the AMI with the automation also, right now I'm showing you how to create the AMI manually, but there's a new options given by the AWS guys that will create the AMI also with some kind of automation. This is called image builders. So I'm not talking this topic right now. Maybe in the future, if you want, I will discuss. But there's also one of the options they now they give you. Okay, but Let me do this thing manual. So finally, the topic, guys, if I conclude, okay, this topic is how to create your own AMI. When I say own, means customize. When I say customize, it means I will have my own personal image where I can put my own data, own softwares, own customized OS, and I provide this AMI to the entire world. Or maybe I can use private. Only my account will gonna use this. Okay. So that's what we are going to do right now. Okay. So for this, what is the approach we have to use? Let me show you from the starting. First, we have to launch the OS. So I'm not using this OS just to make it clean. I have to launch the OS. So if you want your base OS to be Red Hat 8, okay, so you can use, right, or maybe base OS Amazon Linux too. So let me take this one. So this is my base OS I want. Okay, and I want this. This is the OS I'm launching just for configuring thing. After configure, we will get a copy of this. So just go for anything here. 1 GB RAM, 1 CPU. It would be anywhere. Let's go for it. 8 GB. Let's say this is the OS of Amazon for image. Just give some name. This is not important. This is not important. That's all. So this is the new OS I launched. Sorry, I don't have a. Uh, let me delete terminate. Okay. So technically what I'm going to do here, all right, I'm launching new OS. Why I launching new OS? Because after I launch the OS, then only I can configure things, right? And after configuring, it become my entire new environment. And I'll tell my AWS, now this environment I will like to use multiple times. Can you create a one copy of this? Or can you create one customized AMI for me? So we can use this AMI in the future to launch as much as OS I can. That's what I want. Okay. So very quickly, let me go because of the limit. I have to again. Where's AWS? Okay. So first step is launch your OS, maybe Windows or Red Hat or Ubuntu or Amazon, whatever you want as a base OS for your future AMI. So this will be my base OS. Which one is AWS AMI? After you launch the base OS, obviously why you want to launch this OS? Because I would have to configure those things. So let me configure these things. Apache Web Server, PHP, and something like this. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, 1 minute, and they are launching. Okay. After the launch, I connect and then I configure things, same thing. And after you configure all the things, what you will see in the AMI, your personal new AMI come up. Okay. So how to create this AMI is pretty straightforward. Before you create this AMI, okay, you need the OS. You need the running OS, or I can say not running. You need a OS that contain actual data or actual software, what you want in your final AMI. Okay. So that's what we are doing here. So I want in my final AMI, the base system to be Amazon Linux. And on the top of the Amazon Linux, I want my web server to be installed. So this is software, guys. This is command in the Linux to install Apache web server. Okay, this is a very common need. I always need Apache web server. Okay, or I also need PHP. Maybe I have to put some PHP code here. Or then I will to put my some PHP website here. Okay, so because this is a PHP website, so let me create a website with index.php with extension to PHP. Or maybe one of my developer has given this website to me, and I put my code here. Right now, I'm just typing the code here. Okay, and just printing here and say welcome welcome to Lansword. And because there's a PHP, a PHP can include HTML code. So there's the BR tag I'm using here. It will give a new line on the browser. It's like a pure HTML, right? And just for testing, I'm putting in the backcode ifconfig command so I can see the current IP of my instance. If somebody open the website on the browser, they can see the IP. So this is a pure website PHP code, guys. And just for very quick testing, I just testing here. So welcome to Lansword. BR tag come up here, and output of my IP of this instance come up. Okay, but when this output come in the browser, okay, this BR will give you a new line. The BR only support in browsers. Okay, and finally, I start my services. Systemctl start HTTPD. And plus, I also want when a system reboot, automated service starts. So I make it enable. That's all. So finally, this system is configured as a Apache web server. And just for testing, I'm just testing this guy very quickly. So this is the IP, and I'm testing this. Obviously, it might fail because they connect on port number 80, and port number 80 is blocked by a firewall. It's called security group. So this instance, I'll go to security, and security, I'll go to inbound rules. Click here, security. I'll go to inbound rule, add rule to allow HTTP. So this part, guys, we discussed in very detail already. Okay, from anywhere in the world. Save. Okay. Now if I test this, yeah, so output come up. So welcome to Lansword, and output of my if config command come up. This output is not look proper or pre-formatted. So this small, very small PHP code, HTML code I can type before the PHP scope pre-tag is HTML tag pre-formatted. What is do? It will only pre-format the output. So now output look a little bit better. Yeah, it's so clean. Okay, so this is the final environment we have created, and this entire environment or entire website is running inside this OS. Inside this OS. Okay. Now, right now it's working good. There's no challenge. My client can use it, but maybe in the future I have a requirement to launch this website hundreds of times, or launch the same instance hundreds of times, then time it, then launch, then time it. So when I go for auto scaling or load balancers in AWS, we'll see this very common requirement come up there, or maybe another requirement we also have. Okay, so if you don't want to do the same thing, even though I haven't done lots of things here, only very limited code I have a change here, but maybe sometime we have to do hundreds of changes here. So you don't want to do the same thing again and again. So what can you do? You can create a copy of this entire OS or of entire environment, and that copy is called creating your own AMI. And how to do this? Okay, for this, there's two approach, because whatever you're doing in this OS, okay, entire data of this OS is storing in a root volume, in this root storage. So go to this root storage, create a snapshot, and from the snapshot you can do it. Okay, so create a snapshot. You guys know how to create a snapshot, and from the snapshot they give you options to create your own AMI, create image. Either you can do in this way, a long process, but you can do. Okay, or second way, or simplest way we can do is, so this is the OS running. I'm into the instances, and over here on the top of action, okay, here they give you option image in the templates called create image. That's all. Okay, so that is the simplest way to do. And finally it will create a directly AMI of this instance. Just give the image name. Just say this is my Vimal AWS web server with PHP. Okay, so just give a image name, and that's all. And some extra options they give you. Okay, do you want to reboot this OS or not, something like this. So I don't want right now to reboot, but sometimes we have to reboot, depend upon what kind of data we are putting here, we had here. And And that's all. Nothing special to change and create AMI. That's all. So it's very straightforward. It means any of the OS or instance you are running, if you want to create your own AMI, you can do it. But it's not like randomly you create AMI. We should have a solid reason behind it. And my reason is because in this OS we have to configure multiple things already, and I will have to have a copy of this so I can use this AMI multiple times. So finally, this AMI is creating. Now, if you go to AMIs, you can see now this AMI is coming up. Okay, it's coming up. And if you see here, the visibility of the AMI is private. It means only my account, after logging my account, I can use this image. And from this image, I can launch the OS. But you can change the visibility, and that's called permission. That's so the other account can also use it. Okay, but it takes some minute to launch. Okay, but technically behind the scene, if you try to understand the operation, what they're doing in this instance of the root EBS volume, they are first creating the snapshots, and from the snapshot they are creating this image. But if you go to snapshot, it won't visible here because this operation they are doing behind the scene, but this is the actual operation they are doing for us behind the scene. Okay, and after the you will see the AMI come up. After this AMI come up, now if you try to launch any new instance, now you have options to launch the instance from these guys the way you do, or what can you do, you can go for my AMIs, and here your AMI will come up. Right now it's not visible because they are still creating. After some minute you will see your AMI come up, and click next and it will launch for you. Now this time they will have entire base Linux called, I think, Amazon Linux, whatever I used, plus all the configuration, whatever we done here, they will give to you. So you don't have to configure again and again. Finally, you have to directly use it. So very commonly used use case we have for this, because this is a very common thing. Same environment we have to use multiple time. So this is the one of the great way to do the things. Okay. And one more a small thing, let's just to be created. There's option in the action. Okay, it's called image permissions. Okay, and if you want image to be public, you can do it. It means I created this image, I tested this image, a lot of changes I have done, and now I want my image to public. Anybody in the world can use this. Okay, so I can make the image public also. Okay, so all the things, all the settings I have done. It won't work right now because they're still processing. After this, we can make it public. But now after this, anybody can search the image with my name, and they can use. You can change the permissions also from here, or you can share the image per account also. So you have your own account, so it's private, but I can put your account name. Okay, so this image will come in your account also. So if I can put your account number, whatever account number you guys I want to share with the guys, and only those guys can use my images. So those permissions you can also maintain over here. Okay. So guys, this is some of the options about the snapshot I have discussed, plus how the thing flow we discussed, AMI creations, plus some extra options we have discussed, right? But this image, guys, I suggest always have this image ready. Okay, because in lots of practical in my upcoming classes, we are going to use these images. Okay, so guys, normally we do a class of around 2 hours, but I'm still in the recovery phase. Okay, it's been told by doctor to have to do as much as rest I can do. So I'm not guys continue today. Just I want to keep this topic till now. Okay, slowly guys will increase the time also. But I thought at least to start the classes because it's been long gap in this classes. So at least some of the topic we discussed today. Tomorrow, most probably we're gonna touch EFS. I suggest have and go through the NFS classes. I'll share you guys soon today. Okay. So a small topic, or maybe tomorrow we might also start networking. But guys, there are a lot of topic over here. that we cover again in depth as well as and when those things come up. Okay, now guys, it's been available. Uh, Now if I want to launch the OS, so when I launch the OS, my MI, this name come up. I click and select, and other things will be same. So now I have my own AMI. The good thing is, okay, whatever we had in this AMI will become up in my instance. Okay, that's the one thing. Okay, so that's all, guys, for today. Same timing tomorrow, 6 o'clock. We will continue with this class. Okay, 6 o'clock. Any questions? Any query? If you have, uh, you guys can ask me. Can we upload an ISO and OA file of OS and launch it? The Pansu answer is there is no DAG option available from the portal of the AWS, I believe, but there's some command line option available. I suggest, guys, you guys take this also as a one example or homework. I want you have your own personal image in your laptop, maybe ISO file, not exactly ISO file, but if anybody who know about the image called OVA file or VMDK file, okay, and try to upload those images in the AWS and try to launch that instance. Okay, so answer yes, we can do, but I want you guys try this particular task. We have to do a lot of courses on you. Definitely, Kunal. I also want to learn multiple things with you guys. So yes, Chetan, we are going to discuss networking concept very soon, right? So if you made a customize the below the storage will be there. I think I'm pretty not sure, Susan, but I think creating the AMI is free. Okay, it won't charge. But I suggest please go and check again the billing part. But according to my current knowledge, I just keep in my just come in my mind. Creating the AMI is free, and the storage of AMI is also free. Okay, storage means right now whatever the storage they're picking up, they are free. But I suggest please go and check again. Yes, I use you can install Pi Audio in Red Hat. Okay, but only the challenge is I think in there is some challenge in the mic driver on Red Hat version 8. Okay, in VirtualBox. But if you use VMware, they will support. Yes, Manoj, I have given this task. Guys, I have given one task to everyone how to connect a pen drive to AWS or any storage on the AWS to local system. I think you guys have tried. Again, guys, check some more time to try this. So after directive for PHP again, where WSTML. I put the data in where WSTML. Yes, Subham, one of the some of the concept of cloud security we'll discuss in this AWS classes. No, Navneet, guys, the image that I created right now, if you see, it is there in the Mumbai. But if you go to North Virginia, for example, okay, so right now I'm into North Virginia, and if you see here, this AMI is not available. So AMI is created per region basis. Okay, per region basis. Yes, Harsul, AMI content config as well. So whatever you put inside the OS, everything is there inside the AMI. Is a complete copy of the root device, or I can say the complete copy of your instance. Yes, Boto 3 Dhruv will discuss in the AWS class. So there's two programs going on parallel, AWS CSA developer. So in my developer track, I will talk more a lot about Boto library. Yes, Abhijit, we'll discuss our role also. So when I go a little bit more advanced in IAM, I will discuss our role, S3 role in policies. All the topic we'll discuss in single go. Yes, Abhishek, you can sell your AMI in the AWS marketplace. Obviously, if your AMI is a worth to use public, you can sell it, right? Yes, Lalita, you can create the AMI of a Red Hat image. There's no meaning to attach because image is image, right? We always attach the volume or the storage. Okay, so you launch the Red Hat image and attach any volume. Okay, but if I don't know what your requirement is, if your requirement is to attach the AMI to other AMI, then launch one of the instance from one of the AMI and second AMI use as a volume. So you can use AMI to create a root device, and from the root device you can attach that part. So it's a long process, but I don't know what exactly requirement is. Yes, Ravi Prasant, we will discuss about blue green deployment when I go for auto scaling and load balancer concepts. We'll discuss there. So guys, I'm trying to pick some questions over here. How much time it take to transfer data from one to other is or terabyte? I don't think so. It takes Sanket a lot of time because behind the scene, Amazon are using their own fiber channels, private lines. Okay, so they are way faster. Obviously, it takes some time because of terabyte, but they are way faster. But if you transfer this data, they will also charge you transfer charges. So guys, in Amazon, if you transfer any data from here to there, especially one data center to other data center or one region to other region, so they will also charge you the transfer price. Okay, so they have per GB or per MB uh, charge, they charge you for the transfer. So keep those things also in your mind. They're faster, but they charge you. Yes, Terraform, Sachin, we will definitely have in upcoming classes. We'll launch Terraform. Anubhav, Snapshot is free, but but Snapshot will charge you the total space they consume. Okay, so whatever space they're consuming, they charge you that much fee. How to set up Windows 10 image? Meet, not exactly understand what you mean by a Windows 10 image setup, but setup will be same, right? If you talk about the how to create a custom image, it's the same way. You can launch Windows and do the same things, right? The way I do here in my Linux system. We have a Reddit training tomorrow. No, Bhavesh, from my side, there's no Red Hat training tomorrow. Okay. So for my side, at your time will be same 6 o'clock. Sushil, soon we will discuss about Lambda concept, right? Right now, there's not right time. There's some more concept we have to discuss. Then some great use case come up that I have in my mind. There I will explain and start the Lambda. So Gaurav, if you want to connect instant with CLI, I think remote login, SSH, use PuTTY or SS command. I think this is the question you're asking. You can connect. What a different way create image and create image, for instance. Uh, I think both are the same. Okay, different options, right? They give you create image from instance means already instance is running or instance we have, we directly copy it the way I used. Or create image, the options is given in the snapshot. There we do manually customize multiple things, which kind of hard disk we need extra hard disk you want to connect. So only extra options they give you as a customize. But otherwise, the both are high level, both are the same. Like, what are you asking me? So if we attach one ABS volume to our EC2 instance, then make that OS as AMI. Yeah, this is a great question, Manoj, you asked me. Guys, if you have one EC2 instance running, it means they have one root device. And if you attach one extra ABS volume, means total hard disk you have two in that instance. And then if you create AMI, what happened? So technically, by default, guys, they will clone both the guys. First and second hard disk both means your root device plus the extra ABS volume by default. But at the time of cloning, they have given the options in the bottom if you see there, okay, to remove it. So at the time of cloning of the AMI or creating the AMI, you don't want an extra EBS volume to be part of your AMI, then you can remove that RAM. Okay, but by default, Manus, they will create in the AMI, they will put both the hard disk. Okay. So, guys, there's a lot of questions over here. I believe if you practice this concept and if you manually do this, you can figure out a lot of answers by your own. And remaining answer, guys, will be discussed in my upcoming classes. So that's all, guys. I just want to conclude for today. See you tomorrow, same time. That is 6 o'clock. Bye. Good and take care, guys. See you.